So we're joined from Baltimore, Maryland by Shelly Eldridge, the confidence coach herself. We thank you so much for taking some time for us after we had to rearrange some things because of the weather and other issues. I got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. This is our entrepreneurship class, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for finally being able to get this together with us.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for having me, Greg.
Now, obviously, we want to talk about all you things you do as a confidence coach and some of the things that you teach to your clients and to entrepreneurs and just professionals. But I'd love to hear more about your background. You are an HBCU grad, Morgan State University. We've had a few Morgan State alums on this platform. And your degree has nothing to do with what you're doing now because you have a background in web design, which you spent several years doing as a professional.
Yeah,
So I want to hear about this pivot. Talk about your HBCU experience and then how that career kind of pivoted to what you're doing now.
sure thing. My HBCU career was uh, a very special one. That's how I'll call it. That's how I'll call it. It was a very special one because, a lot of times you think you know what you want to do, but it just changes so much over time. So when I first started at Morgan, I thought I wanted to go into something like maybe graphic design, but I wasn't fully sure. Maybe psychology, but I wasn't sure. Maybe philosophy, maybe I was just like, I'm just gonna go. And over time, I'll figure out what I want to do. And so once I figured out that I wanted to do graphic design, I locked in and I said, I'm gonna do this. And people say, well, what are you gonna do when you graduate? Again, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just gonna get this degree, and the degree will help me get somewhere. And hopefully I'll know at some point soon. Well, after I got my degree, I never even used my degree in graphic design per se until about, I want to say it was about maybe 6 months after I graduated. And that was because I decided I wanted to use it because I learned these skills. And it wasn't like, oh, I jumped into a career. Oh, I jumped into graphic design. No, 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 no. I did graphic design as a freelance graphic designer from 2012 until I got hired as a graphic designer in 2000, I think it was 21. So almost 10 years later is when I actually got a job in the field that I got my degree in. And so, but that came from dedication. That came from like continuously pushing. That came from, applying skills and learning about myself, learning about what I might want to do, what I was interested in. And I was doing between the 2012 when I graduated until about 2020. During that time frame, I took positions like administrative assistant or administrative support technician or something in the administrative field because I was really good at it. And I'm like, oh, I know I can get a job doing that. That's no big deal whatsoever. And I grew up doing those kind of things with my mom. And so that was easy. That was so easy. But then when it got to the point of actually trying to figure out what I wanted, what my purpose was, what my calling was, and you asked me, how do you pivot from graphic design to coaching? Well, I had always been a coach. I just didn't know it. And so these skills and talents and experiences and things that you have an interest in, the things that you think no one else is, other people might be good at it, but like it comes natural to you. It comes easy to you. You enjoy it. Don't dismiss those things because those are the things that are part of who you are. They're part of your purpose. They're part of what you're meant and called to do. And so I tapped into that, Greg, and I was just like, I'm just gonna keep building it and fostering it. And I started my business. Now, when I tell you back in 2012, when I graduated and I had no idea what I was going to do, and I didn't come into my graphic design like position until like 2021, during that time frame is when I realized I had a passion for entrepreneurship. And I tried so many different things. I was like altering clothes. I was doing hair. I was doing nails. I was painting houses. Anything you can think of almost, like fixing houses. Like anything you can think of, I was probably doing. But that was just me allowing myself to learn and allowing myself to figure out myself and what I might be interested in. Now, I'm gonna stop talking for a while because I can keep on going, but I hope I answered your question.
Oh, you did, and you talked about having that mindset to be a hustler and to be to take initiative, and something that I think every teacher that sees this later, and I think most teachers would agree, it's not a lack of intellect that I'm lacking in this room with me right now. I have a lot of great. They've all got their own business idea they had to do for the class.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of intellect. We've got a lot of talent, but what we lack is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to walk in a room and introduce yourself, being able to believe that when you sell yourself or your product to somebody, look, I'm the best option for this. Here's why you should spend your money with me. And it's not ripping people off, but it's being true
Mm-hmm.
to what you can offer and to say, look, I have a service, you have a need that needs to be met. I can do that for you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they get so upset because I make them present. And I don't grade it hard at all, but it's all about getting comfortable speaking. Now, I know you speak in front of large groups. You've spoken all over the country. I've spoken in large groups. Some people can do it naturally, and that's fine. But that's not what you're trying to get people to do. You're trying to get people confident and believing in themselves because customers notice when you're confident. A
Mm-hmm.
customer's going to know, well, I'm between this person and that person. When that person talked to me about what they do, they seemed really confident. I think I'm going to go with them, and that gives you the opportunity to say, "Here's what you're going to get." When I used to sell cell phones, I always used to tell the joke of, just because I was confident and say, "Look, you're going to get this, this, and this, and it's only going to cost this much," and it would blow people's minds. And it's amazing how
Mm-hmm.
much that worked. And I wasn't lying to them. I was just being confident in what I was doing. So one thing that I know you do is you really talk about how to gain that confidence. And look, and I know I sent you the article where I said, you know, people can't help where they're born. It's not these
Mm-hmm.
kids' faults that their parents and grandparents were not exposed to a lot of things that they have access
Mm-hmm.
to now.
Yep.
Rural communities were left behind for decades when it comes to access and resources and education. But we've changed a lot, and there's a lot of opportunities now. So just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean that you can't achieve it. And because you could say in the past, well, my grandparents did X, Y, Z. That's all I can do. No, it's not. So it really is something you preach, and you've written books about it, and we'll share all that before we go to. But just talk about the message of the confidence coach and how those things that I just mentioned are so important, not only for entrepreneurs, but for even people that want have an entrepreneurial mind as an employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you touched on something. I love that you shared what you just shared in the way that you shared it. And this is the thing. Most people believe confidence comes from something like an external force, but it's really built within. And so people say, well, Shelly, I don't really feel like I'm confident right now. I'm hearing what Greg is saying, and I want to build my confidence, right? Like I want to get to a point where I can speak in front of the audience. I can garner their interest and keep their interest. I can share a story, whatever it is, right? Whatever your goal is, how do I do that? One of the biggest things that a person can do is believe they are the best person to achieve their goal, not someone else. Because, see, the moment you start comparing yourself to other people, you say, well, I don't have this, I'm lacking this, I'm missing this, I don't have that. The moment you do that, you're disqualifying yourself, hear me, from something that's already been designed for you to achieve. So, now you're telling yourself, I don't have capacity. I can't learn this new skill because I don't have this. I can't do this thing because of that. I can't even try because I don't have any evidence in my arsenal or in my toolkit that says I'm capable. When the truth is, you're more capable than you currently believe. So now the task is how do you spend your time? And when you do spend your time, making more space for moments where you're sharing or creating evidence that shows you are capable. Evidence that shows you are capable. And you say, okay, that sounds good. And can you break it down some more? Because that sounds something that's a little bit woo-woo, right? Like, eh. All right, so let's break it down some more. Have you ever achieved anything? You said, well, Shelly, um I only made it to the ninth grade. I only made it to the 10th grade. I only made it to the 11th, 12th grade. I only finished this. I only cleaned my room. I only brushed my teeth. Come on. It doesn't matter what you accomplished. Here's the thing. Confidence is built through action. It's built through action. It's not just showing up and looking confident. It's building a system that tells yourself you're capable. You can do this. And here's why. And so the key is allowing yourself to believe in yourself, allowing yourself to build trust with yourself, keeping your promises to yourself, taking action. And you say, well, I'm struggling to take action because I don't have confidence. Well, if you're struggling to take action because you don't have confidence, it's because you're not realizing the action you've already taken. Lean into that. What skills did you have that allowed you to do that? You say, well, much skill was needed. I didn't need much skill to brush my teeth. So how much skill is needed to do this other thing, right? That you're trying to do. Tap into, lean into it. Lean into it so that way when you're going to take action on these other pieces, you can now feel more sure because you already taken action. Process of elimination. What do you still need to achieve your goal instead of starting with what you're lacking?
So, what is it that you see that the when I know because I know you have your three steps. What is it? Hold on.
Hmm.
Sorry, I got buzzed by the office.
That's
So,
okay.
and I know you've got it on your channel, and we'll share all that. But what is the first step that is the hardest for people to take when they're starting to gain that confidence? Because obviously, just like anything else, it's not something that happens overnight. It is a process. So, what is the first step that seems to be so hard for people to get toward, whether they're trying to open a business or trying to be or land a job or just trying to do something different?
The first step is gaining clarity. Gaining clarity. Without clarity, you won't take action, or you'll take action on things you don't want. So you have to spend time figuring out what is it that you really want to do? What is it that, what is that thing that's been burning inside of you? Like you want to start the business, right? But other people around you may not be as excited about you starting this business. As a matter of fact, they may be like, the economy is crazy, inflation is high. I don't think now is a good time for you to start your business. But when? If not now, when? Like, get clarity on what you want and why you want it. And then when you start there, then you want to start with what do you already have that can help you achieve that goal? And then go into the things that you feel like you still need. Because sometimes, a lot of times, what you have is enough to get started. But if you start with the things that you're lacking, you're going to always see all the reasons why you're not enough, you don't have enough, you can't do the thing, all these reasons. So you got to be clear on what you want. Get the clarity first. Be sure of why you want to do that thing, and then start with what you already have.
Man, you're saying a lot of the things I say. It's good to hear somebody else say it. Now, obviously, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about, especially as we celebrate Black History Month. Um, so many of these young people are going to find themselves, and I don't think eventually. I think it's they will. They're going to find themselves in a situation where they might be the only one in the room that looks like them. They may be the only male. They may be the only female. For other areas of our district, we have a lot of first generation Americans. So we have a lot of immigrants that may be the only Spanish speaker in the room, the only Chinese speaker in the room. And I don't care who you are, that can be a very intimidating time. So if, when our young people find themselves in that situation, whether it's in college or in the workforce or as a business owner, what are some ways to prepare for that? Because it is something that inevitably is going to happen to all of us.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting that we want to fit in, yet we want to stand out. Like we want to be known for something special, right? But we're sometimes afraid to be the only one. The thing is, you're the only you. It doesn't matter if you're the only you here in your classroom, you're the only you in the workforce, you're the only you on that podium, on that stand sharing, you're the only you there will ever be. Period. So it's not about showing up a certain way and what do I have on it? No, it's not about that. It's about you embracing you because you are valuable, because you do have what it takes, because you are worth way more than anybody can place on you. Any value that anyone can place on you, you are way more valuable than that. So when you think about coming into these spaces, you bring you. You're the only you ever. So bring that as you show up. Your skills, your talents, your gifts, your experiences, the way you think packaged with all of that, come on. That's a knockout. Like, you are a game changer and you're needed right now. In whatever space you're in, whatever space you're called to go, wherever space you're meant to be in, that's your space.
That's incredible. Now, they've handed me some great questions, but one thing I wanted to hit on real quick before we get to those is you've talked about confidence and how you have to own the fact that that you're needed, but at the same time, people aren't going to come find you. You have to take initiative, and I always, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I always take it one step farther. It's not what you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if these kids don't want to be an entrepreneur, they just want to be an employee. And what I've kept saying is, even if you don't have you're not a risk taker to the point where you want to put money on the line to be an entrepreneur. Employers love hiring people that think like entrepreneurs. So no
Mm-hmm.
matter whether you go into business full time or not, a lot of these things can help you. But anyway, and it can start in college. Well, how important is it to build a network of people that know you? Because you just talked about your friends can bring you down. If you're trying to build a business based on what your friends want, that business isn't going to be open very long. So talk about a way that you've seen as effective for people to, nobody's going to find you. You have to make people find you. So, what are some ways that kids can make that happen?
Lean into your skills. Lean into your skills. When I was in college, I realized I was really good at connecting with people. I just enjoy talking to people. So I just talk to them about, I don't know, whatever interests them. I just talk, right? And I listen and I make connections. So I'm like, oh, you like that too? Okay, cool. So next time I come talk to you, I'm going to talk to you about what interests you. right? We have a conversation. And so lean into those little skills that you're finding about yourself. Like you might say, well, I'm an introvert, Shelly. I don't really like talking to people. How do I get more people? How do I put myself out there as an introvert? Well, if I told you I'm also an introvert, you probably will be like, no, you're not. That's like not possible. But it is true. I'm an introvert. And so one of the things that you can do is simply start small. Have one small conversation with people you're comfortable with, if even if it's your parents, right? Like just talk to them and say, "Hey, what just have a conversation with them. Start the conversation, any conversation about anything. You have to get used to building a skill of communication, building a skill of putting yourself out there, building the skill. Mind you, I'm telling you, skill. You're not born with it necessarily. So if you feel like, oh well, so and so is way better at it than me, okay, that doesn't matter. You can grow and you can develop, and it can be something that you can get better in over time. So
Oh, big
definitely tap into that, tap into your network, the people you know already, and then that'll get you more comfortable into talking to people you don't know.
Big time. Well, they have. I do have some questions from the students,
Sure.
and I like that they think about some of this stuff. And like I said, they've all come up with their own business concepts for class. This first one, she actually just had to leave, but she'll get to hear this later. But this is Albriana Towner. She's in 11th grade, and she asked, "What strategies have been most effective for you in marketing your business?"
So relationships, that's number one. Building relationships with people, having those conversations, sharing about what I do. I share a lot of information with my churches, not my churches, with my church who are connected with other churches. So that's one method. So leveraging your community. The other thing is, I just walk up to people and I ask them questions. So for one of the gigs that I got, one of the bigger, I think it was a corporate job that I got, I was able to go up to the CEO. I didn't even know she was the CEO at the time. I just asked her a question, hey, do you need this? And it sparked a conversation. And then eventually we got to the end of it and she said, you know what? At first she was like, no, we don't need this. We're good. Then she was like, you know what? Maybe we do. Contact me. Do this. Da da da. So even though you put yourself out there, you gotta have a way to follow up with people. So putting yourself out there, relationships, email marketing. I do YouTube now. I'm in doing my social media, putting out posts and content about what I do, all those different things.
Awesome. This one just got handed to me. I like this one. This is Shatera Hannon. She's in 10th grade, and she asked, "Was there ever a time you wanted to quit, and how did you overcome that doubt?"
I'm not gonna lie. That just happened, what, 3 days ago. I wanted to quit. I was like, ah. So my platform I was using to drive all my traffic to completely like said the back end wasn't working. It just stopped working. So I'm freaking out. I got all the traffic coming here and it's not working. One of the things when it comes to I believe I have a bigger calling than just this moment. So I'm gonna keep on going. Like I even wrote a song. No matter what it looks like, I've got to keep on going because everything in life happens, but it can either happen to you or it can either happen for you. And you get to decide how you show up. You get to decide how that thing has an effect on you. And you can get support. You're not in this by yourself. If you're in it by yourself, you feel by yourself, that's because you're not tapping into the people that have been allowed to be around you to support you, to help you get to that next level. So tap into that. Like you're not in this by yourself. And for me, that's major, especially when I'm feeling low, and I'm trying to push through to the next another level.
Awesome. I got time for two more. This is Kaylin Bullock. She's in 9th grade, and she asked, "Did you go straight into full-time entrepreneurship, and how has your approach evolved as a business owner?"
I definitely did not go straight into full-time entrepreneurship. It started off as a 10-year just doing freelance work, but at the same time, I was working in the career roles as an admin assistant, administrative support tech, all of those different roles. And eventually in 2023 is when I went into full-time entrepreneurship in my coaching business. I started the business in 2020. But I went into, once I got a framework, once I tested things out, once I got to a place where I'm like, okay, I have something I know can help people, that's when I said, okay, my job is giving me grief. This is a lot. I want to at least give myself a shot and see if I can make this thing work. And I went in it full time.
That's awesome. This is Avery Harris. She's in 10th grade, one of our champion archers here at Velma Jackson, also one of our volleyball players. And
Awesome.
she asked, what's the main thing that you think you've done to make your business successful?
Keep on going. That's the main thing. That's the main thing because I learn more about myself. I learn more about my audience. I learn more about what they need, what I have, how to link the two together. And I'm telling you, it makes the difference. Keep learning, keep growing. Get coaches around you, get people around you that know more than you do. Be around those people because they'll help you get to the level you want to be at. Don't just hang around people that are where you are or that you can pour into because you'll get drained. Be around people that can pour back into you and that can help you get to where you want to go, not just where you are.
Awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we just thank you so much for taking some time for us. This has been incredibly encouraging. But a couple things before we go. ShellyTheCoach.com is the
Yep,
website. All of your links to your YouTube channel on there. Great content, and we've watched a couple of those as well. And it's just so important for people to, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, put some positive things into your life. Everything you have on there is uplifting. It talks about, ways that you can overcome um, some common mental obstacles that people have. Your books are on there, your courses, anywhere else they can find you online to get any of your great content.
that's the place. That's the place to be, ShellyTheCoach.com. And it's SHELLY, thecoach.com.
Awesome. Now, the last thing before we go is obviously we talked about this, but especially as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, why do these kids need to understand that we are always need young Black kids to be business owners, even if it's a side hustle, even if it's part time? We always are in need of Black economic leaders, Black economic business owners to really diversify not just our economy but our culture. So as they start deciding what they want to do after high school, why should they really consider going into at least a small business for themselves?
Yeah, small business is where the economy grows, but it's also a place where change happens. And I know a lot of times it's like it could feel alone, it can feel like a lot of work and all these different things, but it's really where change happens. You get an opportunity to truly make a difference in the lives of so many different people. It doesn't just have to be, oh, I have an organization, I have this big old large company. No, you're able to reach people and make a difference and make a change right where you are with that small company. Like I told you, I started off with the freelance work. I was helping people. It's making a difference beyond just a locked in a box 9 to 5. And people need what you have. That skill, that talent, that experience, the drive that you have, the interest, the passion. We need you. We need you. And that's why.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you fitting this in your busy schedule. It's been such a joy. We'll
Thank
definitely
you,
have to do this
Greg.
again.
For
Shelly
sure.
Eldridge, Shelly the coach, all the way from Baltimore,
Yeah.
Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Greg.
I talk to you soon, my friend.
Talk to you.